Hello, welcome. So, it's been a little while. I have been quite sick for the last month or so. So, I haven't really been in the headspace to be able to record videos. I think I did record one that I haven't released yet on register allocation for my compiler series. I don't know if I want to re-record that because I was quite sick and editing was quite intensive on that one. But I might just, I don't know. I'll figure that out a little bit later. So for this episode, I'd like to talk about digilogic. So I've made a few decisions with regards to that. So a while back, I did some soul searching. And I am quite neurodiverse. I don't know if that's apparent in my videos, but I try and edit out a lot of the pauses and things like that. But I still speak quite slowly, which is why I say these videos are optimized for 2x speed. But yeah, there's other things I could get into, but I'm not going to in this video. But suffice it to say, I have a tendency to be prone to burnout. I think I understand some of the reasons for that. And no, it had nothing to do with my work. It was more other things, childhood related and stuff like that. But I recently experienced the worst burnout of my entire life. And I have been unemployed for a couple of years now. And I'm kind of thinking it'll probably be another year before I go back to work. I'm not 100% sure on that. It's not fully decided. I think I have until the usual hiring season in the tech sector is over before I've fully made that decision. But so we'll see. I might go back to work. But I'd like to figure out a way to support myself that doesn't involve having to go back to work, because I'm very much afraid of another burnout cycle. It takes a lot out of me, but it also takes a lot out of my family. And that's a big thing. You know, I have a son now. When I get burnt out, I get so depressed and I can't even function. And so my wife feels, anyway, I could go on and on about all of that sort of stuff. That's not really the point of this video. What I'd like to do is try and figure out something more sustainable. And YouTube, unfortunately, is not it. I think I've made a grand total of $20, including a very generous donation from my YouTube channel. And that's it. That's all. Months and months of work, hours and hours and hours, and I've made $20. Well, more than a little bit frustrating, but that is how it is. And I don't foresee that changing unless I have like 1 million views or something like that. And that's not going to happen with my content. And I don't know. I like making this content. So if I can't be supported off of YouTube, then that comes down to making a product of some sort. And I've always wanted to make a game my entire life, but the problem is I'm not a game designer and I don't really have any good ideas for a fun game. And that's just how it is. I can't think of anything. I like making game engines and I've made lots of game engines, but yeah, so what else could I make? Well, I really like making digital electronics and I've wanted a really high quality digital electronic CAD software simulation environment for a long time. Something that is really good for hobby uses and maybe even some professional or educational uses. There are a few out there right now. These are a list of some of them. All of them have some shortcomings. In my personal opinion, these two are probably the most comprehensive and probably the ones that most people use. But there are things that I wish I could change in this, but I'm just not a Java developer and I can't contribute to that project as much as I would like to. For example, a really nice dark mode would be amazing. And I tried to implement it, but I'm just not very good at it. It just crashed immediately. And Java is not really something that I want to hone. And it kind of sucks not to contribute to one of these projects. That would be my preference if I was up to learning Java and, maintaining Java projects, but I'm just not really. So, and I've been really enjoying C. So that is why I am building digilogic. So I'd like to make this project open source. I would, but I also want to make money off of it somehow. So I think I've come up with a way of doing that. It's a little non-conventional, but hopefully it'll work. I'm going to make it what I'm calling nagware. Essentially, it's going to track locally how many hours you use the program. And say after 100 hours or something like that, it'll pop open a dialog box and it'll just beg for money, basically. So it'll nag you every once in a while to donate to the project. I think that's a happy compromise. You can pay whatever you want. You can donate whatever you want. If you go over a certain threshold, you'll be included in the credits of the program, and there might be a way to disable the nag screen. There might be also ways to disable a nag screen, say if you're an educational institution and you'd be able to donate some amount and then you'd get a version that doesn't have the nag screen or something. I don't know. Now it is open source, so you can always just go in and remove the nag screen. I ask you not to do that, but there's nothing in the license that says you can't. It's just, I'm asking you not to do that. There's nothing saying that you can't sell open source software, so I might put it in the App Store for some token amount. I don't know if people pay for it if it's open source, but it might be worth trying. And certainly in the mobile app stores, that's kind of the only real way to get software onto people's devices. So I might put a little dollar value on that or something. I don't know. So that's my thoughts. I'm currently got plenty of savings, so I'm planning on spending some of those savings developing digilogic. But I would like to be able to recoup my savings somehow, hopefully through donations. That would be my preference. So if you'd like to support this project, there are ways to support it. If you go to the description of this YouTube video, you'll find ways that you can support this project if you're interested. So that's kind of my idea. Just make it nagware and hopefully that will work. And just be upfront that, it's open source. Yeah. And technically you don't have to pay anything, but I'm hoping that you will support the project if you're going to use it. And then the nag screen only comes up if you actually do use the program. If you don't use it, you won't see it. And yeah, I think that's a good compromise. So, let's see what else. In other news, there is a contributor, and I'd like to say up front that if anybody contributes a significant portion of the code, I will be distributing some of the donations to those people. So some percentage of whatever money comes in will also go out to whoever's contributed, and we'll have to discuss what a fair percentage is on that. But I think that's only fair. If I'm making money off of it somehow, then whoever contributes would also be eligible to make some portion of that. So Artentis has developed this library as well as another library that I haven't integrated quite yet. This is the replacement for the auto routing within digilogic. So the old package I was using was really, really slow. And this one is like, I think a few orders of magnitude faster. It went from like several minutes to half a millisecond, I think, somewhere in that range. So that's quite a dramatic speed up. And he's also built the simulation backend that I plan to integrate with eventually once I get that far. So thank you to Artentis for contributing to the project. It's been a huge huge help. So just kind of going over some of the changes. There's been over 60 commits since the last devlog video. 72 files have changed. 73,000 lines of additions and 1,400 deletions. Now, this is kind of deceiving because there's an auto-generated file that's like 30,000 lines long or something like that. So it kind of beefs up these numbers a little. But yeah, there's been lots and lots of work done on the project. Just kind of an idea of some of the changes that have been made over the last, I think it's been 4 weeks since the last video. Yeah, lots and lots and lots of changes. I commit pretty much every day. A few days were skipped because I was too sick to work. And some days were spent refactoring and debugging and stuff like that. So there's that. There's a build system now. It builds on Windows. So actually I do need to update this because it works on Windows. I still haven't tested Linux. I do have a Linux box and I haven't tested digilogic on it quite yet. So this will be fixed soon. Nobody's been pestering me for Linux support, whereas Windows is a different story. So there is an automated build going on. There is releases over here. The latest release does actually work. So if you wanted to download this and try it out, it's available here. Only the Windows binary is being built right now. I could build Mac OS potentially as well. Linux will be a little bit until I actually tinker with it. So yes, if you wanted to try this out, you can. I guess let's just go into a demo. So all graphics are preliminary. So whatever you see is not the final anything yet. So here's a super simple circuit. You can move around with the WASD keys. Right clicking with the mouse kind of works, but not really. I need to fix that. That is going to be fixed very soon. You can zoom in and out. So zooming works. There's some graphics for a few gates. These are supposed to be circles. This is supposed to be a circle. I am currently in the middle of switching graphics engines and I don't have circles yet, but I will have that soon. You can move things around and they snap. So there's certain snap positions. I haven't put the alignment guides on yet for the snap positions, so you can't tell what it's snapping to necessarily, but it does snap. Yeah, when you drag things around, it auto routes, so it'll try and pick better routes. There's no logic in there to make sure that wires don't overlap yet. That'll be coming eventually. It's not super high priority right now, so I don't know if it'll come by the next video. Junctions can also be moved, but it doesn't actually put the junctions at a good place for the auto routing. We think we came up with a pretty good idea of how to fix that. That'll be fixed pretty soon, so then you won't necessarily need to move junctions around. It'll automatically find a good place for them depending on the location of the components. So this is the smallest circuit. To switch circuits, unfortunately, you got to restart the program. There is a medium-sized circuit and a larger circuit. I'll show you the medium-sized circuit. So this is 1-bit ALU, I guess. And trying to get it so that the junctions are in a good place is kind of tricky. Yeah, those are fine. So should probably be over here, I guess, or I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to fix it. Or I'm going to try and fix it. It's bothering me, okay? Anyway, so So yeah, we've got a test circuit. It can't simulate quite yet. I don't know where that's going to be on the roadmap, but it'll come eventually. So there's graphics for and or. The highlight is a little bit wonky. I'm going to redo how the graphics is done for the gates fairly shortly and try and do them in a better way. You can see some of the wonkiness around here because there's a double outline on this and it's off center and stuff like that. But yeah, that'll be fixed pretty shortly. So if you try and auto route this, it's quite fast. If you press F3, you can get some debug draw times on the top left. It's really small for if you're on mobile, so you'll just have to trust me. And yeah, auto routing doesn't produce a significant frame rate drop. You can also press spacebar and you'll get some debug lines for the auto routing. And you can press B to change auto routing modes. And if you drag, it'll start using that mode. Not much difference that you can see on video. And I'm not even sure if these thin lines will show up on video, but anyway. So there's that. And then the largest circuit is this one. I need to figure out a way that I can store some preferences so I can remember the window position and size. It would be nice. So this is the largest circuit, test circuit that I've got. Yeah. This is the same circuit, but I've just put it through the analyzer in digital to kind of expand it so that, yeah, it's just using and OR gates. That's basically it. So yeah, really large circuits are supported, and if I push F3, the frame time goes from about 10 milliseconds to 18 milliseconds, it looks like, on this circuit. And this is a debug version of digilogic. So in release, you can't even notice the difference in like drawing times. And I can turn on the debug lines. It slows down significantly in debug mode, but in release mode, there's no slowdown. So this one's just not optimized currently. So it's possible to select more than one thing. Oh, that doesn't usually happen. I guess I should have done more testing. That is definitely bugged. Normally you can select more than one thing and move them around, no problem. You can also undo. So if you go the usual Control Z, you can undo, or at least you used to be able to undo. Yeah. I'm right in the middle of a large refactor, so obviously I broke a bunch of things. Let's try a smaller circuit. Can I move? Nope. 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 Okay. And I get a bunch of undefined behavior. Okay. Yeah, so I broke something. It was working. Yeah, demo gods and all of that. So yeah, there is undo and redo. It was working very recently. And there is moving of a selection area that was working until recently. I'll probably fix it immediately after this. It's probably something silly. By this, it looks like there's a NAND being introduced somewhere. So yeah, it should be pretty easy to fix that. And then underneath the hood, there's been a ton of changes. The build system has been built out. So there's a CMake file now. There's a complete overhaul of the data model that took several days to refactor. There's a new auto router that is like 100 times faster than the old one, at least, not 1,000 or 10,000. I'm not sure. There's a new font renderer. Well, I mean, I implemented fonts this month and then went to MSDF fonts, and that was okay, but the fonts were kind of hard to read at small sizes. So now I've switched to free type for font rendering, and that seems to be working okay. And I'm currently in the middle of transitioning to a new graphics pipeline with a custom vector graphics renderer. That will be done shortly. So yeah, thank you very much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you will consider donating to this project. It would be most appreciated. I'm building it for this community, and I'm hoping it'll be widely useful. So yeah, thank you very much. I hope you have a great day. Bye.